In an era when fighters pursued glory above all else, they did not shy away from challenges, but met them head on, knowing that true greatness was measured by the legacy they left behind. Rarely do the stars ever align, and destinies converge with such synchronicity that a monumental clash is born. A moment when the sport transcends itself, and history is written in the ring. On September 10, 1993, the then undefeated 87-0 Julio Cesar Chavez, who was ring's #1 pound-for-pound fighter, moved up in weight in pursuit of a 4th divisional world title to challenge 35-1 Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, the then WBC welterweight world champion of the time, who was making his first title defense. The bout was especially compelling, as both fighters were 3 divisional world champions, competing at or around the end of the prime, and widely recognized as 2 of the best boxers in the world at the time. The matchup between Julio Cesar Chavez and Pernell Whitaker was compelling on every level, pitting one of boxing's greatest pressure fighters against one of the sport's most elusive and technically gifted southpaws. Chavez, renowned for his ruthless aggression, body punching, and ability to break down opponents with constant pressure, faced Whitaker, whose defensive wizardry, slick footwork, and ring intelligence made him nearly impossible to hit clean. The fight was a true clash of styles. Chavez sought to impose his will and grind Whitaker down, while Whitaker's focus was on the speed, angles, and precision, looking to frustrate and outmaneuver the Mexican legend. In the face of the raging bull's fury, wisdom lies not in locking horns, but in the art of misdirection. For true victory is not won through direct confrontation, but through the dance of the Vanishing Act. There was never any doubt about who would press the action and who would fight off the back foot. Chavez, true to form, pressed heavily, punching his way in and looking to make the fight as uncomfortable as possible for Whitaker. Even if Whitaker showed no signs of openings, Chavez looked to batter the guard, determined to break through Whitaker's shell. It's a misconception that the aggressor always controls the fight. True control lies in the fighter who dictates the pace and bends the bout to their strengths. Whitaker understood this perfectly. He had no intentions of standing in a pocket and trading fire with Chavez. Instead, he built a strategy on movement. Not in and out movement, but in lateral movement. By circling clockwise, away from Chavez's power hand, Whitaker's bladed stance made it difficult for Chavez to land straight punches. This forced Chavez to reach across his body with the right, leaving only the left hook as a viable weapon, which Whitaker could neutralize with his lead shoulder. Through his tactical positioning, Whitaker established a strong foundation for his game plan. His lateral movement was key. Not only did it keep his back off the ropes, but it also prevented Chavez from effectively cutting off the ring. This forced Chavez to continually reset and reposition, making it difficult for him to mount sustained attacks. When Chavez did let his hands go, he had to step with every punch, as Whitaker was a moving target. If Chavez overcommitted, Whitaker would smother his offense, tying him up and forcing a break, which meant the action would resume in the open ring, right where Whitaker wanted it. This constant movement and strategic awareness allowed Whitaker to control the geography of the fight, dictating not just the pace, but also the very space in which the fight unfolded.
Round of the fight for Pernell Whitaker. Back to the Aladome after this.
For a fighter taking on the role of a Matador, movement is only as effective as the deterrent that backs it up. And for Whitaker, that deterrent was a sharp southpaw jab. Chavez, the pressure fighter, often fought from a square stance, favoring his hooks and uppercuts on the inside by allowing for better rotational power. But before he could pull the trigger on those inside weapons, Chavez first had to solve the puzzle of Whitaker's jab to close the distance. The square stance left Chavez vulnerable, as Whitaker's lead shoulder was pointed directly at the middle of Chavez's chest, giving Whitaker an optimal angle for his jab.
A bit more here, which is just a
inside and outside.
and there you saw Joe Cortez trying to keep them.
The jab served the crucial purpose. It clogged the space between the two fighters, acting as a barrier that Chavez had to navigate before he could set his feet and attack. Combined with Whitaker's constant lateral movement and frequent resets, the jab added another layer of difficulty for Chavez, forcing him to deal with it before mounting any offense. Whitaker often stepped with his jab, using it as cover fire while circling out, which not only disrupted Chavez's rhythm, but also prevented him from finding a clear lane for his straight punches as Whitaker angled away.
Frustrating Chavez a little bit.
Yeah, at this juncture, Whitaker spinning him around and then coming back with his own combination. Chavez looks very intense.
The true brilliance lie in the timing of Whitaker's jab. With Chavez in perpetual pursuit, he was always a step behind, mirroring Whitaker's movement. This made Chavez relatively easy to anticipate. Whitaker would time his jab the moment Chavez's lead foot entered the pocket, catching him as he stepped in.
He's not throwing that punch. He's not getting leverage behind it. He's not even throwing it. See there, he missed.
Even when the jab didn't land, it served its purpose by halting Chavez's momentum just long enough for Whitaker to reposition and maintain control.
He's making Chavez throw off
Right hand by Chavez.
not to mention lunging punches.
Whitaker didn't overcomplicate his defense. He kept it evasive and deceptively simple. So confident was he in his abilities that he fought with the low guard, even against one of boxing's greatest pressure fighters. With the distance between them constantly shifting, Whitaker mixed in subtle level changes, always varying the position of his head as he slipped and evaded Chavez's punches. This further complicated things for Chavez, who now had to punch out where he thought Whitaker's head would end up, rather than directly at it.
Against other people would be to step to his left and rip those double left hooks and stop a fighter in his track.
Chavez dictating the tempo of the fight, but I really think in what Whitaker is doing in his own way.
When a pressure fighter is unable to cut off the ring or take away space, the advantage swings dramatically to the boxer. With the ring as his oyster, Whitaker can move freely, dictating the terms of engagement. He had the luxury of picking when and where to exchange, setting his feet only when it suited him. This allowed him to get off first, beating Chavez to the punch time and again. Whitaker prioritized speed and precision, while Chavez loaded for power. The result was Whitaker drawing Chavez in, planting his feet to unload his shots, then circling out before Chavez could fully set and respond. It was a masterclass in controlling both distance and tempo, turning Chavez's aggression into a disadvantage.
If I can remember Chavez being was against Edwin Rosario, and as you said, it was all.
Look at this.
Even while fighting off the back foot, Whitaker was able to dictate the action and control the pace on his own terms. What really troubled Chavez throughout the fight were the straight punches coming right down the middle. His square stance and focus on closing the gap left him exposed to Whitaker's sharp, accurate shots all night long. Despite the aggressor's unyielding pressure, Chavez simply had no answer for Whitaker's lateral movement. When the final bell rang, the bout was ruled a draw, but not without controversy. Many observers, including Ring Magazine and Sports Illustrated, had Whitaker winning convincingly, scoring at 117-111, or 9 rounds to 3. Statistically, Whitaker outlanded Chavez, connecting with 311 punches to Chavez's 220. He was also the more accurate puncher, landing 39% of his shots, 4% higher than Chavez. This fight serves as yet another reminder of just how subjective boxing scoring can truly be. Some judges favor the boxer, others reward the fighter who presses the action. At the end of the day, the official record is what it is, But sometimes you have to look beyond the scorecards and recognize the true people's champ.